Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Joe Madden here, the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. I am joined today by Dave Rogers. You can find him on Twitter at Picks from Dave. Excited for today's show, Dave. How's it going?
It's going fantastic. How's it going with you?
It's going amazing. We got gorgeous weather here. We've got a heat warning, actually. We're in the low 30s for Calgary, Alberta. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit off the top of my head, but it is hot. How's the weather there?
Oh, it's always hot. I live in the desert, and I think it's going to be 105. Again, I don't know what that is in Celsius, but that's cool for here.
Okay. I hear you. So
It'd be really
I'm
hot where you're at. It's 105 is actually for the rest of the world is really hot.
105 is really hot because we're at 87 here Fahrenheit, my 31. So 35 Fahrenheit to Celsius, you got to be right around that 40 mark. Yeah, you're 40. That is hot, Dave. I don't know how you live with that.
AC, beer, cold beer.
Cold beer, AC, and the games. Got some great games talking about games today. We had preseason football this weekend. Did you catch any of those?
I did. I watched the game. I'm very leery on pulling the trigger on betting for a lot of reasons. That's probably a whole nother show. But I am watching it and gearing up and preparing because it's right around the corner.
I am so excited for football season to kick off. We're going to be doing so many shows. Like I said, you guys, Dave's going to be coming on every Monday with me. We did move it. This August is a little kind of up and down with my schedule, but Dave's going to be on the Joe Madden Sports Podcast once a week, as long as he wants to be. I love having you on here, Dave. So
love being here.
We've got MLB games today. We've got quite a few games on the board. Is there anything that really stands out to you today?
Yeah, I like a lot of games. I posted 5 picks on Twitter. I usually post, between 3 and 5. 5 is a day I really like. And today is a day that I call payday. And that's because one of my favorite, actually probably my favorite pitcher to fade in the entire major leagues is pitching. That's Patrick Corbin on the Nationals. They're playing the Cubs. And I'm really excited about this game because it's really going to show how bad he is. The Cubs, the past 2 weeks, have hit horribly against left-handed pitching. 177 batting average, 531 OPS, 101 isolated power, and 52 WRC plus. That's the bottom 2 or 3 teams in every category. So we're going to see if Patrick Corbin is the worst pitcher, left-handed, or worst pitcher in the major leagues, because he's going up against a team that shouldn't be hitting him. But I think he's so awful. I'm taking the first 5 run line with the Cubs, and here's why. The last 3 games, he's been bad all season. The last 3 games, his ERA is over 25. It's 25.41. And in 2 of those games, he didn't make it out of the first inning. This last start he was supposed to start, instead of dropping him down to AAA, they just gave him a break, which means that the Nationals are super desperate on their pitching staff, or else they would have dumped him down. But just to cap this off, when you see a pitcher's record, that's in handicapping, it usually doesn't mean much, especially because it's not like days of old where the pitchers would pitch 7, 8, 9 innings. They're getting taken out earlier. Well, Patrick Corbin, he's pitched 23 times. And most of the time when you get a pitcher that pitches 23 times, they'll get a decision in half of the game. The bullpen will get the decision in the other half. He's gotten 20 decisions out of 23 times, and he's 4 wins and 16 losses. That basically means he's getting so behind early in the game, his team can't catch up. That's how bad this guy is. So any bet on the Cubs here is a good bet, and we're going to see how bad this guy is.
Okay, so we can get the Chicago Cubs at minus 168 for the full game. For that, you're taking them in the first half then, Dave?
And I can get minus 124. That's really juiced for me. I take this up to minus 130. That's how confident I am.
Okay. Now, any thoughts on the team total here for the Chicago Cubs? If you're thinking they're going to hit nicely off of him, team total is low. Well, it's kind of high. It's at 5 at plus 102. We're getting plus money on that. Do you think they can come in strong and get over their team total here?
I don't know. So this play is less of a play. Actually, it's not a play at all for the Cubs bats. Like I said, they've been horrible. This is a play on how bad Patrick Corbin is. And both of these teams are really erratic at the plate anyways. I didn't even look at team totals, to be honest, but 5 seems high.
Yeah, 5 does seem that little bit high. I'm just looking at Patrick Corbin's numbers here. He just has, like you said, He's a good pitcher, definitely to fade. How many innings are we normally seeing him stay in for?
So that's the thing. Earlier in the season, and this shows the Nationals have tons of problems. That's where they dealt Soto and Bell, and they're going to rebuild. But they can't figure out what the right gauge is for this guy. So earlier in the season, they were leaving him in too long. So he would pitch sort of okay, and then he would get torched in like the 6th inning, and they should have pulled him out in the 5th. Now they're not letting him go very long because he's giving up 6 runs in the 1st inning. So he's just bad all around. The Nationals, they really need to figure out their pitching staff, because when you have a pitcher that's struggling, you don't just give him the day off. You go work him in the minor leagues. They didn't do that. So that means they don't have anyone to bring up for him.
Yeah, completely struggling right now. 7.02 ERA on the season and 110.3 innings pitched. Not looking good at all for the Washington Nationals starting him. I love it, Dave. What other games are you looking at today?
The other one is more of an obvious one. The Astros and the White Sox are pitching 2 pitchers that are just lights out. On the season, their ERAs are under 2. Justin Verlander, I was having this conversation last night with someone talking about DeGrom and Scherzer and Kershaw. I think probably the past 2 decades, Justin Verlander is the best pitcher, has been the best pitcher. He might get jumped by someone else, I don't know, but he's just been lights out. And for him to be doing it in his late 30s, I think he's 38 or 39. Yeah. It is amazing. And Dylan Cease has been good on the season. Again, his ERA is under 2, but his last 31 innings, he's only given up 3 earned runs. That's a .87 ERA. So both of these pitchers are pitching really well. And then when you look at the hitting, the Astros have been struggling, especially for the Astros, but they're just generally below average in every category. And the White Sox have been above average in most categories, except for isolated power, which is 125. That's slightly below average. That means they're hitting, but they're only getting, base hits. So I think these 2 pitchers, we could see a 0-0 game first 5 innings.
Yeah, this first 5, I really do think is a lower scoring one. One thing I did play, which totally goes against these 2 pitchers, is a Houston Astros team total. I got the over 3.5. And I think they get those 4 earned runs today. I think especially once it goes over to the Chicago White Sox bullpen, we can see these come in. But I do agree with you. This first 5 is going to be so tight. We could see nothing coming in at all in this one. So I do like that, Dave, as well.
If you like the under and you like the Astros team total over, which are kind of contradictory, you should like the Astros run line, because that's saying basically they're going to win 4-2 or 4-1. And the Astros team total has been a good bet recently, except for instance, like last night where they lost 2-4, and they scored 2 runs in the 1st inning, top of the 1st, and then they took all the way to the 8th for the White Sox to come back and take the game. So I wouldn't say that's a horrible bet for the Astros, but if you're liking the under first 5 and you're liking that bet, you should also be betting the Astros run line.
Yeah, absolutely. The run line is a fantastic way to go with this game. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup between these 2. Can't wait to see how these pitchers come out. I love games like this where we have 2 strong pitchers starting on the mound. What about yourself?
It's fun. A lot of people say it's boring. If you're watching it with a non-baseball fan, they'll think it's boring, but I think it's exciting, and especially Justin Verlander. It's like a Tom Brady-esque type thing for him to be pitching this well. He's pitching the best he's ever pitched, and he's at the end of his career.
Now, Dave, asking you on that kind of thing, are you betting any strikeout props at all this season, or is that something you're looking into?
I have. So I'm very with baseball prop betting. I do it a lot more in basketball and football for sure. Yeah. With baseball prop betting, one of my favorites is the strikeout, and it's usually going against certain teams. Like the Angels have been the team to take the strikeout prop for. Earlier in the season, I believe it was the Braves I was taking, but the Angels, I always look at the Angels and who's pitching against them, and that's been the main focus of my strikeout prop.
Definitely some great advice there to look at those Angels. I hear you on that. Any other games that you're either avoiding or liking today? Is there anything you're like, that's just a garbage game, I'm not touching it to save my life?
Garbage games? I have other games I like, which I'll say, but let me see. Let me take a look at the games, and I don't want to get anywhere. Yeah. Give me 1 second. ESPN likes to pop up.
They do. They sure pop up when you least expect them to.
So I'm avoiding anything with the Reds and the NL Central.
Okay.
Kirk Gibson's been a pitcher that has been really, really bad in the first 5 innings. One of the top 10 pitchers to fade in the first 5 money line bets. But I still wouldn't take the Reds. They kind of burnt me last time I bet them. I'm avoiding the Mets and Braves. I had the Mets yesterday, and the Braves went crazy. That's going to be a good series and battle in the NL East till the end. World Series champions, and then the Mets, who are one of the best teams in baseball. So I'm avoiding that. And I'm also avoiding the Dodgers. That's the other one. The Dodgers have been red hot.
Yeah.
But when you see the Dodgers as dogs, that is ultimate mousetrap time. And I almost took the cheese. I really debated. But number one, the odds makers know what they're doing. But number two, the pitcher, if there's any one pitcher that you're going to fade on the Dodgers, it's this new guy, Pepiot, I think is how you say his name.
Yeah, he definitely is a good fade there in that one. So it's going to be interesting. My Toronto Blue Jays have been on an absolute slide as of late. Baltimore getting beautiful win over them yesterday. But Kikuchi, do you have any thoughts on him? I can't trust him. He is an automatic fade for me as soon as Toronto puts him up. Are you feeling the same way?
I've had many conversations the past 3 or 4 weeks with my fellow Canadian cappers about Kikuchi and the Blue Jays. Yep. He is awful. I'm not a Noah Syndergaard fan, but I kind of liked him to replace Kikuchi on the Jays. Yep. And I've been secretly, or not secretly, now fading Kikuchi. I was on the Orioles, and that hit. I have 2 teams at the All-Star break that I really liked as, I guess, quote unquote dark horses. One was the Blue Jays, the other was the Mariners. Yeah. And the Blue Jays have proven to be really streaky. Going in the All-Star break, they were slow. Coming out, they were red hot, and now they've slumped. I hope that we're going to see the other side of that and a come up to the end of the season, because when I look at the Blue Jays roster, I look at a World Series contender. They're just not playing to their potential.
Yeah, absolutely. They've just been showing their struggles. They're now 3 and 8 in their last 11. They just have been stinking it up out there. So congratulations to the Baltimore Orioles yesterday. 7-3 win, I believe it was the final score in that one. Kikuchi giving up 3 earned runs, 3 walks, I think, as well. So not a day, but Toronto is back at it today. Both these teams really fighting for those wild card positions. Toronto secured with 1, Baltimore fighting for 1. So be an interesting game on the diamonds. But Dave, what else is happening? What have you got going on?
Well, we've got the same old on Twitter every single day, no days off. I post picks the night before, 3 to 5 picks. They're free. They're all 1-unit bets. And I also post my results on my page. I also have a YouTube channel. I do at least 1 pick video every single day. That's going to jump to 4. I'm going to do 1 for every sport that I cap. And when we have baseball and football going on, that will be 4 a day. That's a lot for me. I don't know. Joe Madden's a pro, so she does videos all day long. That's going to be a lot of work, but I'm putting them out there, giving some free information, trying to, give back to the community. And that's at Picks from Dave at YouTube.
I love it. You guys make sure you go over, give Dave a pick on YouTube, or give Dave a follow on Picks from Dave on Twitter and YouTube. You guys don't want to miss out. He's absolutely crushing it. Dave, thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you back next Monday for sure. You guys, we're going to keep it for this 2 p.m. Eastern time slot. So Mondays, 2 p.m. Joe Madden Sports Podcast with Picks from Dave. You guys don't want to miss it. Dave, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.